All right, it's your boy Spank Dog, aka Puffinstein at YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You already know. Let's get into it. All right. So before we even get started, I gotta give real credit and honestly a real thank you to the channel Minutes of Horror. This is their work that we're reacting to and breaking down. And I'm not just saying that to say it. I've really been tapped in. I've watched pretty much every video they've put out up until a certain point. And the only reason I even fell back is because I got so locked in on building my own channel, going hard trying to level everything up, that I had to take a step back and reset for a minute. But trust me, I've been deep in it. Not just this channel, but the whole lineup, the consistency, the detail, the way these strange, thought-provoking topics are presented. It gives you something to really sit with and contemplate. So salute to him for that. What we're doing here is commentary. We're going to break it down, react to it, and add perspective. But if you really rock with this type of content, go check out my homie at Minutes of Horror. I want to be real with y'all too for a second. One of the biggest challenges that I faced with my channel and the whole YouTube platform thing is that I refuse to box myself into one lane. I'm not built like that. I'm into sports, culture, real world topics, deep conversations, all of it. That's who I am. Now, yeah, the system tends to reward people who stay in one pocket, and I felt that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel it. But at the same time, I'm not here to shrink myself just to fit an algorithm. I'd rather build something real, something that affects the full scope of who I am and attract people who genuinely rock with that. So if you're somebody who doesn't fit in a box, you're in the right place. All right. No niches. I like to deal with a lot of stuff. And with that being said, let's get into the marathon. You know what I'm saying? All right. First things first, check see if anybody tapped in real quick. And we about to get it shaking. We about to get it shaking, Bacon. All right, it's my good friend. Let's hear what he has to say. Matter of fact, the narrator might come on first, so let's see. I haven't seen any of the videos we're about to cover.
This video is going to be 202 today, but here's a very interesting rabbit hole, and it all has to do with Kash Patel and his emails getting hacked. Now, back when Hundala hackers, or 88, and we've been seeing a lot of that number, had supposedly hacked Lockheed Martin, Kash, my girlfriend's definitely not a honeypot Patel, and the FBI had gotten involved. He said, "We are bringing this group down with the force of the United States." Well, not too long after, he also ended up getting hacked. A lot of personal photos and videos of him were released, nothing too bad that would incriminate him, but something along with this was also released that may or may not see him getting fired. And it all has to do with this very mysterious factory explosion that happened in Tennessee. Now, I don't know why Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, would have this in his email. I guess this is more rabbit holes for us to go down into that lead to nowhere, but it is.
Honestly, I don't think Kash Patel is qualified. In my opinion, I'm not 100% certain on that, but I feel like the job was given to him more so because he promised loyalty, and there's just something about him.
Is what it is. Because this wasn't something that was really hidden from the public. You can actually look this up on usspending.gov, but I guess it's the fact of him bringing attention to it. It's a Department of Defense contract for almost $500,000, and the recipient is Accurate Energetic Systems, LLC. The start date of this contract is May 1st, 2025. The end date is August 25th, 2025. Now, the product behind the contract is a miniaturized XS demolition charge and demolition charges anti-personnel XS to support SPM. What that means is that these are very tiny explosive charges that can be placed into something like, for example, a beeper or a microphone, a lapel mic, and so forth. They're tiny, but they can still do a lot of damage. They're still an explosive, but they can also send shrapnel flying. So this brings up the whole Charlie Kirk situation. Now, I personally don't like talking about the whole Charlie Kirk situation. I know you're probably saying, well, here you are talking about it. Sometimes, unfortunately, things cannot be avoided because people are connecting the dots between what was found in Cash Patel's email, this contract, and the whole Charlie Kirk exploding microphone theory. He could be a
Like I told you too, I wanted to say this at the beginning, but we got right into it. Um, the stories we're gonna see, like I said, they're out in the real world. There's things that don't make sense sometimes, and then articles come out, some in really valid, trustworthy publications, and then some are, I wouldn't say not official, but they're more loose with their reporting. So but things happen that people let slip through the cracks, and that's what this is for.
alive for all I know. And again, the whole thing was surrounded by the number 33. They found the person that ended him in 33 hours. The governor praying for 33 hours. 33 people had lost their jobs.
Drop a comment if you believe that there's symbolism in numbers to the degree that we're looking at right now.
When making memes about Charlie Kirk. Someone drove 33 hours to paint a mural of Charlie Kirk. And remember, he had three hats in front of him. There were 4 and 7. 4 plus 7 is 11. 11 times 3 is 33.
33.
So that was just one big scripted event to try to get people to fight among one another. And as soon as that happened, what was the
I had a friend that used to come up to me with the dollar bill when I was young. This was like 35 years ago. And he used to point out all these things in the dollar bill. Big shout out to Carlos. And yeah, he used to tell us all these things about the dollar bill. Like, I don't know if it's true or not, but he definitely believed it was true. And this man was talking about all this stuff 35 years ago, and now in the present day, it's a big topic.
keyword that was trending, but Civil War. So again, people are connecting those dots. But what I find to be a very interesting connection is this Accurate Energetic Systems LLC, because where these tiny explosives were being made was at the Accurate Energetic Systems explosive manufacturing facility in McEwen, Tennessee. On October 27th, 2025, this same facility had a massive explosion to the point that it doesn't even look like there was a building there in the first place. The incident resulted in 16 people passing away, several serious injuries. I don't know how anybody survived this, but they're saying they did. And the building was just wiped. It is estimated that between 24,000 and 28,000 pounds
It does look like there was nothing there
of explosives detonated during the incident. There are people that are saying that due to the timing that a theory came out that went viral that Charlie Kirk's microphone had exploded, this is why they went ahead and destroyed the factory. I mean, personally, I don't see them destroying this entire facility over one individual when they can just go ahead and deny it and nobody's going to do anything anyway. But the Department of Defense generally pays out 30 days or a little after 30 days after receiving their products. So it is possible they didn't want to pay, and this explosion was basically a threat not to go after them, kind of mafia style, which there is proof they never paid. If you look this contract up under usspending.gov and you go to the outlaid amount, it shows zero. So they never paid. They are obligated to pay $440,494. And again, the recipient is Accurate Energetic Systems, but there's no receipts of payment. There's multiple upsides for them to taking out this building, and also who knows what else they may have been working on inside of there that they did not want people that were working on whatever getting out. Plus, it wipes out all traces back to them and any workers having knowledge of this when it comes to any future events, future bigger events that may involve these explosives.
All right, number two, the stories that we're going to be looking at, you're going to have to do the math. You know what I'm saying? You might even have to do a little research. This is one of my favorite channels. So I just watch and I do the math myself. If I see something that I think might be like a little far-fetched, I go and check everything out. So what's being reported right here, I'm not saying anything is wrong or anything's right. I take it in and I do the math. And what really intrigues me about the channel is that almost everything he brings to light was in a news article. So that's what makes it kind of official.
Like, for example, something along the lines of that beeper explosion that happened in Lebanon. Now, that would definitely be a reason to destroy any factories or traces back to them. So maybe they do have something in store that's very similar to what happened back in Lebanon back in 2024. But
We're going to see a moment where 5,000 drones fly by. They drop some sort of, I guess, fireworks type stuff, and they create this light show. Just to talk about that, they have technology that we have no idea about. I didn't know you could make an air mural with 5,000 drones, right? Now check this out. At one point, you're gonna see it coming up. There's something in the sky, and a bunch of people are like, oh look, there's a mothership right there, right? They pan over to the window and they show somebody with like a projector shooting the light beam up into the sky, and what they're projecting looks exactly like an alien ship. So be careful, even if you see something in the sky, it could be a projection. We're gonna keep going. You'll see it.
moving on really quick, I do want to go ahead and talk about this video from Shane Vibes, because this pretty much goes into what.
If you experience sexual abuse at any of the New
All
York
right,
City
I thought it
juvenile
had blacked
centers,
out for a
schools,
second.
hospitals, universities,
days of the week, and they used license plate reading cameras to detect who's on the roads, who should and shouldn't be, and use that to enforce this policy. Now, they're calling it temporary, but this is exactly what's happening in South Korea right now. Somehow not North Korea, but South Korea. Now, I don't know about you, but this is giving me the complete memories of what we experienced not too long ago.
To what we're seeing today.
All right, this is the
Can you
beginning.
imagine for a second if the government told you you can't drive on certain days of the week?
I want to bring you guys back to the beginning of the story because the screen blacked out for a second, but it was on their end.
Government told you you can't drive on certain days of the week, and they used license plate reading cameras to detect who's on the roads, who should and shouldn't be, and use that to enforce this policy. Now, they're calling it temporary, but this is exactly what's happening in South Korea right now. Somehow not North Korea, but South Korea. Now, I don't know about you, but this is giving me the complete memories of what we experienced not too long ago, 2020s, where it was a big idea to stay home and save lives, but now it's stay home and save fuel. And the fact that they're using...
And it's crazy that what he's pointing out is that North Korea is supposed to be the one that's suspect, or people that are like real, their mentality and beliefs are out there. But South Korea is the one doing stuff that's suspect in this moment.
License plate reading cameras, it makes you wonder if those were to stop bad guys and catch people's license plates who don't have insurance or whatever they're using those for, but also happen to function as the perfect system to make sure they know who's driving. And if they impose these restrictions, these travel restrictions based on your license plate, they would quickly be able to AI-ly detect who is and who isn't supposed to be on the roads. So I should say, if ever something happens where a lot of the goals and plans of the parasites at the top become achieved because of a crisis, you should question that crisis.
Gas is increasing exponentially, and we have an energy situation on our hands, and it really makes you wonder if that was really the purpose of all these flock cameras everywhere. Now, we do know it's for control at the end of the day, but they knew something like this was coming, a new lockdown involving energy, and all these flock cameras are at the end of the day to monitor anybody driving outside the allotted times they allow people to drive, especially here in the United States.
Wow.
Because when we start seeing this happening in other countries, eventually it makes its way over here to the States and other countries as well.
With the Driver Privacy Act now signed into law, creating new guidelines for license...
Drivers Privacy Act. And if they catch you on the road with the cameras at a certain time, penalties will be handed out. And the surveillance thing is getting like really, really like heavy duty.
plate reader cameras in Washington, the city of Stanwood is choosing to reactivate their network of 14 cameras.
We have limited staffing, and the flock cameras have really been a force multiplier for us.
The law prohibits law enforcement from using camera data such as license plates, vehicle models, and characteristics for immigration investigations or enforcement.
We'll always use the data the way the law specifies.
It also outlaws agencies from collecting data near places of worship, schools, or facilities offering protected healthcare or immigration-related services. As a result, Stanwood police say they'll have to adjust 2 of their posted cameras. However, Mayor Sid Roberts says the most...
I don't believe homie when he says they'll use it right all the time. That's never the case in a lot of places.
critical part of the new law is that public records requests are no longer available for camera footage.
The legislature, I believe, did us a big favor by working this through.
He says there was a massive request that hit their office in May of 2025, which led them to shutting their program down and taking the issue to court.
It just was an expansive request for tons of data that we couldn't even provide.
Police Chief Glenn DeWitt says they've never worked with immigration enforcement in the past, and now they plan to simply follow the law while protecting their community.
Things like vehicle theft, stolen cars that travel through the area, people with warrants for their arrests, our DV suspects that we're looking for.
Reporting here in Stanwood in Snohomish County, Tyler Cunnington, KOMO News.
Flock cameras that were deactivated are now becoming activated again, and they are saying they are only going to go ahead and monitor people lawfully. But what if the law eventually says that you can only drive at certain times due to this whole energy situation?
All right, guys, we're going to go on to the next one. All right, because he connects them too. So the next one most likely or almost definitely will be in the same timeline. All right, give me 1 second. Got you guys right now. All right, let's get it shaking.
We switched off the Large Hadron Collider for 4 years.
The Hadron Collider.
2 kilometers.
I've been telling you people about that for a long time too. You know, I cover different topics, but when I do cover this particular topic, we talk about the Hadron Collider and the ice cube neutrino detector. These are things that the government has that I'm not even going to get into what they do because they're heavy duty technology, and I'm not going to act like I know what they do 100%. But I'm glad that it started with this. All right, guys, let's hit play.
June the 29th, 6 a.m., we switch off the Large Hadron Collider for 4 years. We're replacing about 1.2 kilometers of the 27-kilometer ring with the high luminosity LHC magnets. This will give us a machine that's 10 times brighter than the Large Hadron Collider, 10 times more data. So it really is an opportunity to explore the universe in a way we haven't done before.
There's so many people out there that don't know what a Hadron Collider is, an ice cube neutrino detector is, and I'm pretty sure that they have other machines. I am familiar with them, but like I said, you know, it's been a second since I've looked at what exactly they're about, and I'm not trying to act like I know things I don't know right now at all, period. But let's keep it going.
And what that does is when the particles come around, and then we...
Oh, and CERN is some sort of company that is supposed to be doing secretive things regarding space and other dimensions and AI and quantum and all that.
We bend them towards each other. If you make the bunches of protons smaller and smaller, you get many, many more collisions. You concentrate everything in the same place. That's what these super high field magnets are doing. Installing this is a massive task. It's by far the biggest thing that CERN has done for the last 20 years. And what we're doing here in this building is this is a test string. We're testing the technology, and it's much easier to test it here rather than in the confined spaces of the LHC tunnel. And we've already learned some really critical information about some of the design of this. We've updated the design based on our tests. And it's amazing to be here today that this is now operating, it's at its operating temperature of 1.9 Kelvin. So this is a superconducting liquid helium system operating at 1.9 Kelvin. That was a massive milestone for us in this project. So we're now.
What did he say?
So this is a superconducting liquid helium system operating at 1.9 Kelvin. That was a massive milestone for us in this project. So we're now confident that when we go underground and start installing the high luminosity Large Hadron Collider, we will be successful. We know what we're doing. We've tested the installation procedures here.
So as you heard in that video, CERN will be shutting down the Large Hadron Collider for 4 years starting June 29th of this year. They will go ahead and reboot after 4 years, which will be June 29th, 2030. With an even more powerful Large Hadron Collider, they will go ahead and smash particles at a rate they have never done before. Reading this right here, they call it the high luminosity LHC.
It's a particle smasher. And for some reason, doing it at a faster rate is very important. So I'm going to give that just a quick little rewind so you guys can hear.
I've never done before. Reading this right here, they call it the high luminosity LHC, a major upgrade to CERN's Large Hadron Collider aimed at increasing its particle collision rate by a factor of 10 beyond the original design by 2029. This will also allow them to do deeper studies into that Higgs boson, which is the God particle, and new physics. So that means things are going to get even more bizarre around that time. But it seems like we might have a little clue as to what's to come after they go ahead and start up this very powerful Hadron Collider. Every time I play this individual's video, I say make sure to write this date down, because Jordy, I'm the evil George Costanza Rose, did not say this date for nothing.
You know, CNN, BuzzFeed, whatever, they're all kind of the same nowadays. Think about how unimportant that thing is that you're reading if this is true. Yeah? So what does this have to do with?
That's if it's true. Let's see what he's even talking about.
Aliens. So Sam Harris, who I quite admire, is a very interesting guy, was reciting this parable at a TED Talk that he was giving, and it goes something like this. So I am, say I'm the President of the United States. So I receive this message from the heavens. So my microwave dish, my SETI dish, finally captures something. And what it says is, in 50 years, or 13 years, we're coming to your planet. You got to be ready.
I'm not buying into that quickly at all. I won't say that he's not saying anything with validity to it or could even be true, but that's not something you just believe from because somebody uttered it.
Now just imagine what would happen if that happened. A super intelligent alien race beamed down a message to all of us Earthlings saying, we're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready because the mothership is landing right on the front lawn of the White House or wherever
you see it. And keep in mind, people, they've already talked about the government, people saying they believe or whatever, allegedly. I have to say allegedly for the channel's sake. But allegedly, they believe that the government is gonna definitely in the future try to utilize making us believe aliens exist as a tool to control us through fear. All right. Now, I don't sleep on that, but I don't buy into anything yet. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely am not going to see lights in the sky and automatically believe it's an alien.
you wanted to land on that day. The amount of resources that would be marshaled to try to figure out what to do would encompass the whole world.
I'm also very confused where he came up with the whole 13 years, because the person he's quoting, Sam Harris, said nothing about 13 years. He said
Yeah.
50 years. The 13th year, the 13th day, and the number 13 in the occult symbolizes intense transformation and rebirth, which is no surprise either, again, given the fact that CERN is involved. The number 13 in the Kabbalah represents divine mercy, unity, and the ability to transcend natural limitations. Unity, which, again, he's talking about all these countries have to unite against this common threat. I know some people out there are saying we probably won't even make it to 2030 given the fact of everything that's currently going on, but nobody knows at the end of the day when everything's going to truly come to an end. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Will there be signs? Of course, there's signs now, but it doesn't mean everything's going to come to an end in about a couple years. But
I don't believe, listen, I believe that the resilience of the planet and the people are way more stronger than people understand. You know, I'm not saying that we haven't messed up with the industrial revolution and you know, building all these buildings and always smoke hitting the sky, and you know, even technology, the need for batteries and materials and gas, and you know, it's even the microplastic thing, like that's not even conspiracy. You understand? Like microplastic, it's been told, and pretty much a lot of people know right now that we got plastic in our body. You know, it's not even something that they would get mad at you at for saying on YouTube. It's factual. So, you know, yeah, we definitely messed up regarding the planet, but I think that we're beyond resilient, and we united can make things better. I really, really believe that. You know, people always wanted me to not be the guy that I had been because, you know, for a certain amount of time where I came from, people that were around me, I had to be a certain way. And I've pulled away from that now. So I don't want people to be hypocrites and say, oh man, you know, you gotta lose the macho stuff, you know, don't worry, you always worry somebody's, you know, you gotta stop thinking in terms of always thinking you gotta be on the defense and this and that. And then when I do that, they say, oh man, you too soft, you this and that. Like, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you do. I mean, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You might as well just keep it 100% official, you know. And I do truly believe we're resilient enough to come together and win, you know.
that doesn't mean things are going to slow down either. And I always say prepare for anything, because I do believe things are going to go ahead and increasingly ramp up by the time we get to 2030. But one thing that's definitely not slowing down is the whole digitalization of assets.
I don't think he's wrong about people with power and money. Some of them are up to no good. I wouldn't never generalize or blanket statement any group, you know, not rich people, not a culture, not a religion, not a nationality, nothing. When it comes to a big enough group, there's good and bad.
Digital currency. Now, when something happens in one country, it'll happen in another, then another, until it's implemented everywhere. If you have not heard, a couple days ago, Claudia Sheinbaum, Mexico's president, came out and said she wants it mandatory, not a suggestion, mandatory, that all paper cash ends in Mexico. So basically, you will not be able to travel by car if you plan to just use paper cash.
See, I'm not really feeling that that's bad. In my opinion, making it where you have to go electronic, that's a no-no. People should push back on that. You know, material, solid currency, I think is important. You know, you're gonna put your money in something that could be hacked, and they're about to get on some quantum stuff, and quantum is a whole different level of computing. They're gonna have to create new encryption over quantum. Trust me, people. You know, in my opinion, your money is not safe electronically. You know, physical money, I believe, is a necessity. You know, maybe for the rest of time. You know, making it electronic, putting your money somewhere where something could get knocked out by a hacker. They could come out of nowhere and tell you you're dead on your $1 million or whatever. I'm not feeling that at all. That's a big no-no for me. That's something that I feel like people should definitely push back on.
Reading this article from the USA Herald, President Claudia Sheinbaum delivered an announcement that will reshape the daily routines of millions of
What's wrong
Mexican
with this
drivers.
lady, man?
Cash will no longer be accepted at the country's gas stations or highway toll booths before the end of 2026. Digital payment, she said, is not a suggestion, it is a mandate.
They don't even got their government intact like that. At least that's what I believe. And if like I said, I don't think Mexico is the country that should be deciding whether we should use paper cash or electronic cash.
At this March 20th announcement, you had the executives from Visa, MasterCard,
Especially when this is coming out of one person's mouth. It's like people are putting all their trust in this one lady. Well, I'm talking about all the people of Mexico, let's say.
and international organizations there, which of course include BlackRock. Let's not forget when she was running for president, she was seen in many photos with Larry.
When you get a chance, look up BlackRock. They're the richest company probably on the planet in regards of being able to control other people's funds. Look it up.
The King Reptoid Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, and not just that, but also one of the heads of the World Economic Forum. At the end of the day, of course, this is all about control. Not only does it fit into the whole digital ID, but with paper cash, it's harder to track you. With digital currency, now you're leaving a paper trail everywhere. You try to travel, you only have pesos, and
I know my man from Minutes of Horror definitely isn't messing with that whole digital currency. At least I'm guessing so. I would think he's definitely on some like, I like my material. I like money I could feel, and I feel the same way. And that's me just guessing. He agrees with me.
hit a toll booth, well, you'll not find anywhere to put the pesos in the toll booth. Sheinbaum framed this move as a cornerstone of a broader effort to digitize the Mexican economy and reduce its dependence on cash transactions. Gee, I wonder why. A goal that the administration.
The reason that then it finally came out. Now I understand her a little more. She's worried. See, but you don't make a move out of fear. She's scared of criminals, will say. You guys already know. But I like to keep it, like I know you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? But she's worried about criminals being able to get their hands on the cash. That's not a reason to go electronic. That's a fact. If you get wind of this, I forget her name, Shinebound. Don't go electronic because you're scared of criminals getting their hands on money. That's a desperate decision. You don't make decisions out of desperation. But yeah, man, the criminals could get their hands on the cash. She thinks that she's gonna stop that by making it electronic, and that's not the case. There's cyber criminals.
Has been building toward through a series of policy steps, digital payment platform upgrades, and banking sector partnerships since she took office. But this isn't directly coming from her. This is coming from her boss, because he said in multiple interviews that he wants to digitize, again, all assets everywhere. Because in his words, he says this fights against laundering, but of course, they just want to know everything that you do at all times.
Think about digitizing their
Ozark, the TV show, is all about him laundering money for the Mexican cartel. But like that's a show that's not based on a true story. You get what I'm saying?
their own currency. What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have it,
But moving on to this whole Artemis 2 stuff, because they always have to mock us. Look at this article right here. Other articles are talking about this, but reading this article from Sky at Night magazine, Artemis 2 astronauts are taking their own avatars to the moon to find out how dangerous spaceflight really is. An avatar being a digital version of them in a virtual space or world. So, haha, a digital version of the astronauts will be on the moon, not the real astronauts. But what they say this actually is a small chip containing human cells that could help prepare humans for long space journeys. I mean, they could have called this anything else, but again, the mockery is in full steam ahead. The article goes on to say it could easily be the plot of a science fiction novel. Of course it is, because the whole thing's scripted. When Artemis 2 astronauts launch on their journey around the moon, they'll be taking with them a small electronic chip that contains cells from their body. These will serve as the quote-unquote avatars that can be analyzed back on Earth to find out how long-duration space flights affect humans. It's hoped that the experiment known as Avatar, a virtual astronaut tissue analog response, will inform future crewed missions to the lunar surface and help prepare to put human feet on Mars. It's just funny how they're telling us they're going to be studying their digital personas when a lot of people already believe the whole thing is fake anyway. I mean, I would have a nice hearty chuckle about this if it wasn't for the fact I have a pounding headache after being yelled at in my ear for the past hour at my job. I would definitely have a nice hearty chuck, right? But this is what the astronauts are supposedly putting themselves into, which is the size of a USB drive, which they call an organ chip. If you had seen my most recent video comparing these four...
Remember I mentioned they got technology nobody knows about? I mean, who knows what they've not released? You understand? It could be an abundance of stuff, and I mean like a lot, you know. Hopefully they've given us a taste of some of the more important like technology. But I told people about quantum, but the thing is like I understand quantum, but it's not like the guys from Big Bang Theory. But what I'm telling people is that quantum, they got to keep the quantum processor in a 0-degree chamber type thing. So, but when they finally get to normalizing quantum, the power of a computer is going to be magical, and look it up if you don't believe me.
Astronauts to the Fantastic Four in their most recent movie, The First Steps, where it has the Fantastic Four going to space. The captain of the Artemis 2 being named Reed. The leader of the Fantastic Four is named Reed. They both have 3 men and a woman in their group. They both have a bald guy who's the pilot of their spaceship, whose last initial begins with a G. These are just some comparisons to name a few. Well, their cells also played an important role in that movie. Reading this right here, the Fantastic Four faced
Marvel's the best comic in my opinion. DC's good, but Marvel, the stories are just crazy.
cellular mutation caused by an alternate dimension rather than the typical radiation they would receive in their comics. The team's powers stem from exposure to a new dimension, addressing how such an event would scientifically impact every cell. And then, of course, not too long after, we have that alien threat with Galactus, which in my own personal opinion, I do believe this whole Artemis 2 event will play into this whole alien agenda. Because tonight at around 6:47 p.m. Eastern time,
Drop a comment if you believe in aliens or you don't. Simple as that. I believe in aliens. I don't believe in aliens.
astronauts will supposedly be making their way to the dark side of the moon. And while they're doing this, they are expected to lose communication with Earth. There's going to be a complete blackout for about 40 minutes.
They're going to find Transformers on the dark side of the moon. They're going to find Optimus.
It'll probably come out later in some type of script that the astronauts saw something that they were not supposed to. It made the aliens upset, and now they are invading. Or they're upset that we have the technology to travel back there, something along those lines. Like, how many times have we heard in news, music, movies, TV shows that there are aliens that exist on the dark side of the moon? Like, for example, this article right here.
Well, the Transformers, the dark side of the moon, you know, they're supposed to be robot aliens, and they literally come from the dark side of the moon. Well, they come from Cybertron, but in one episode of the movies, it deals with the dark side of the moon. Yeah, man, this is very interesting, you know, but like for a person to say I know for certain, unless you work for NASA, you know what I mean?
There might be an ancient alien city lies on the dark side of the moon, and this is just one of many examples. It all just feels like one big sci-fi movie playing out. And to hype this up even,
do me a favor, people, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe. Because I choose to do multiple topics, I could use your guys' help more than people that follow the whole stay in one lane thing. Because when you don't follow a niche, they don't push you like that, you know. So Yeah, I could use some likes, comments, and some subscriptions, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Even further, this whole alien stuff, we had NASA's administrator on CNN being asked this. This video comes from Hallucination Hippies.
In a brand new interview, NASA's administrator didn't deny aliens, and you can hear it in how he answers a question.
You see what I'm saying? Like somebody who's really high up in NASA is like hinting towards aliens existing. I would tell you, in my opinion, don't believe him. I would say, you know, it's not where you have to call him a liar or not believe him. I would say just keep an open mind.
Listen carefully to this.
Does the prospect of alien existence factor in at all into how we plan NASA missions?
I would say it goes to the heart of many things that we do at NASA. I mean, our job here is to go out and try and unlock the secrets of the universe. And one of those questions is, are we alone? Okay. I would say that is inherent in every one of our scientific endeavors. It's inherent in our mission.
Are we alone?
I've been to space twice. I didn't encounter any aliens up there yet. I have not seen anything to suggest that we've been visited by any intelligent life forms out there. But when you think about it, we got 2 trillion galaxies out there. Who knows how many star systems within each of it? I would say the odds that we will find something at some point to suggest that we are not alone are pretty high.
That was
I respect that. I do. Like, at least he went to the numbers and said it's infinite. You know, 2,000. He said 2 million billion galaxies. All right, like whatever. Like I thought it was infinite, but he put a number on it. That's why, like, you know, I don't even understand what he just said, because he said there's 2.3 million galaxies. I thought it was everything was infinite. Maybe he, you know, there's a real good chance he knows something I don't. He's a NASA astronaut.
Jared Isaacman, and earlier today he appeared on CNN and CBS. Today is day 4 of the Artemis 2 mission, so they talked about a lot, but he was asked directly about alien life, and his answer was very carefully worded.
So like I said, one way or another, this whole Artemis stuff will play into their alien agenda. But moving on, I do want to go ahead and see what other people are talking about.
I respect homie narrating too, so when he says stuff like that, I take it into consideration also.
Mandela effects? Meet Marion Stokes, your worst nightmare. I told y'all yesterday about a documentary called Recorder, the Marion Stokes Project. If you didn't see it, click that comment to go back. Marion Stokes believed that people would try to rewrite history, so she recorded television for 30 years nonstop. Why?
I want to see Recorder. That sounds amazing. She recorded TV 30 years nonstop.
Winding up with over 71,000 VHS tapes. Those tapes have now been given over to the Internet Archives, and they're supposed to be digitizing them so we can all log in and see the tapes as Marion recorded them. So one of the biggest things we want to see are the Mandela effects. Does she have a commercial recorded that is Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia? Does she have an episode of the Berenstain Bears, not the Berenstain Bears, recorded? Did she record Forrest Gump where he says life is like a box of chocolates?
You know, a lot of people are more familiar with the Mandela effect. If you're not aware of the Mandela effect, it's a debate about people like swearing when they were young something was a certain way, but people say no, it was never like that. It was always like this, and they're like, what? That's the Mandela effect. That's something that I know a lot of you guys are way more familiar with. I'm gonna just drop it back a second. There we go.
Bears recorded. Did she record Forrest Gump where he says life is like a box of chocolates, not life was like a box of chocolates? Does she have a recording of Shazam with Sinbad? Because we know it existed. Marion could be the answer to these Mandela effects. I truly believe in them. I think that they change small things, try to convince us that we remembered them wrong so that they can go ahead and make us believe less in our memories. But I can wear a tinfoil hat sometimes, so I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on it. And again, if you didn't see the video yesterday, it is absolutely worth a watch. So go back, let me know your thoughts, and which Mandela effect would you want debunked by Marion? Mandela effect.
That video came from allegedly, reportedly, and honestly, I don't see how uploading her.
I would like the box of chocolates one. I would like to know if he said was or life is like a. I thought it was life is like a box of chocolates.
Her VHS tapes, her works onto the internet digitally is going to help, because I'm thinking once it gets uploaded
They could
digitally,
paint
the
it.
AI is going to take over and change all her works
Yeah.
to what we see today. Yeah, she
Paint
may
it.
have captured the Berenstain Bears, but the AI is just going to change it right back to Berenstain Bears.
It's gonna be tainted. Yes.
CEO of the AI mass surveillance company Flock has gotten nearly 100,000 cameras into 49 states without most people's knowledge or consent.
So we just started doing it and just kind of brute forced through pain and sweat. Our customers have no idea what version of camera they're on. They think they have the Flock camera. We're on version like 4.6 or whatever.
Flock's AI surveillance system has allegedly both led to numerous wrongful arrests and been used to stalk women. But of course, the
Yeah, Flock is a surveillance system.
CEO who runs Flock sees his company as one of the heroes of history.
In the U.S. history book, there'll be a part about Flock and how because of Flock, we are a safer, happier, healthier company or country. And like that might sound crazy, but like that I believe is our life's mission at Flock is to achieve that.
And he's not just doing this by providing AI surveillance. He's determined to control local government elections as well.
And we always say, like, it's not just the technology. We have very strong opinions on the policies and the types of people that we think we need in elected roles to help achieve that mission. And so that would be the big picture for me.
Flock's AI mass surveillance.
Always question stuff, people. Don't just be fed stuff and regurgitate what you hear. Even certain stuff you see on TV, especially now with the AI, things can be manipulated. You could be looking at what you think is a star, a celebrity, and it could be either AI or it can be something else, look-alike, whatever.
Surveillance isn't about safety. It's about making money and taking power.
That video came from Panodyme, and Flock CEO said that correctly. America is definitely a corporation. And this is what I've been saying for so long when it comes to all this technology, AI and things like that. Like he said, these owners of Flock think they have the latest new technology when they are on like Flock 6.0 or something like that. Same thing with AI. We are given the watered down, less powerful form of AI, of course, while they have something they have completely perfected that is flawless. That is to have us believing that AI has all these problems, it glitches out, so we don't question a lot of these events that are caught on camera.
What the CEO who runs ChatGPT fantasizes about.
But how will people survive? Like, how do we adjust our structure of like, if some people own the companies that have the AI, and then a lot of people are just using the AIs and the agents created by AIs to do things for them. How will society, like societal members, still be able to financially survive? Will there still be money?
I don't know. Neither does anybody else. I don't just want like a check every month. I sort of like universal basic wealth better than universal basic income. And I think I don't like basic either. I want like universal extreme wealth for everybody. 8 quintillion tokens are going to get divided up equally among 8 billion people. So everybody gets 1 trillion tokens. And that's your kind of universal basic wealth globally.
Hey, Sam, chat needs to research before it answers sometimes. You ask ChatGPT a question, it'll answer from its own memory bank without going to research, and it'll give you the wrong answer. So when you ask ChatGPT an important question, make sure that you tell him to research before he answers, or it answers, whatever you want to call it. Maybe you named your ChatGPT a female name. Tell her to go research before she answers.
And people can sell those tokens. Like if I don't need mine, I can sell them to you. We could pool ours together for some like new art project we want to do. But instead of just like getting a check, everybody on Earth is getting like a slice of the world's AI capacity, and then we're letting the like massively distributed human ingenuity and creativity and economic engine do its thing. I mean, that's like a crazy idea. Maybe it's a bad one. But that's the kind of thing that I think sounds like someone should think about it more.
You can tell they put zero thought into the future, because what he's proposing.
Sam Alternative Man already has this in the works, this token called the World Token. Wherever you sign up and get this World ID by scanning your eyeballs to prove you're a human, they will go ahead and give you a world currency, a world token, which you can spend on certain things. But something like this is definitely in the works at a mass scale, especially when they go ahead and get rid of the dollar, like, for example, what we're seeing over in Mexico with the peso.
Imagine if you could turn any idea in your mind into a perfect, realistic photo. No Photoshop.
Okay, so
Starting to get hot in NYC, boy. Winter's gone. You know, I got the AC on and I'm still a little hot. You know, and it's not even that hot today, but once it starts to change, you know, you could feel it. You know, especially when the heat comes up, because my landlord is a good landlord, so he gives off good heat. And once those radiators start kicking, they're so hot you could, you know, if you touch it when it's real hot, you could burn yourself. So he gives good heat, but you know, when it's starting to hit spring, you know, he could throw it on a day where it's not too cold and it'll be real hot in the house.
you've all seen how Siri and Google have integrated AI, right? We didn't ask for this. It's big tech. They're flipping the switch on us. And now Sam Altman, the owner of OpenAI, is out here saying that the future of AI is going to be metered like water and power. So let me connect these dots for you, because this is not a
Wow, I didn't notice what he was saying. That's insane. They're saying that they're gonna limit AI like water and electricity.
conspiracy. This is literally happening right now in Georgia. Georgia Power froze the base rates for our electric bill. And on paper, that sounds good, but here's what they're not telling you. Local governments are footing the bill for brand new power lines, road upgrades, and fire stations. Meanwhile, data centers are the literal physical buildings running this AI, and they're getting billions in tax breaks. One estimate just ballooned from 327 million to 2.5 billion in breaks. That's your tax money subsidizing the infrastructure that they're going to turn around and charge you to use.
I don't want my AI limited. I wouldn't, you know, like I have honor and pride. Like if I feel like people are doing something too underhanded, I'll cut it out of my life, you know. There's probably certain, you know, you can't cut food out your life. You get what I'm saying? So but what I'm saying is that, you know, if it's something that I have power over, I would not even mess with it. You know what I'm saying? Like AI is supposed to be for everybody, and you can't make it where you guys or certain people is they trying to make it like wealth, you know, because AI, it makes it easier for you to learn. It makes you easier for you to get access to information quickly. So, you know, like I said, AI is it's coming whether people like it or not. And you're gonna to be at an even playing field, you're gonna need AI, you know. So for them to withhold AI would be them making it unfair again.
So here's what really jams my Glock. These data centers, they are proven military targets now. And we're not talking about some secret bunker in the desert. We're talking about residential areas. In Fayetteville, Georgia.
Be careful putting your money into turning it into electronic money. You know, if a certain place goes down, you know, the you know, there's a chance you could lose your the how you call it, the proof that your money even existed.
Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, they're running high voltage power lines through over 100 properties, and that cuts through people's yards. We call that eminent domain. And they're taking it for a data center that Microsoft already signed on to use. Monroe County, Middle Georgia, is about to build two
House and property, taking it without even having the rights to it. It sounds like that's what she's saying.
in residential areas, and they're using eminent domain to run liquid natural gas pipes to fuel these substations. Now, here's the part they're not telling you about why all this is happening so fast. Wall Street just flipped the script on AI. For years, these companies got a pass to lose money chasing the dream, but not anymore. In 2026, investors are demanding something they haven't seen yet: actual profits. But here's the problem. Most of these AI companies aren't even profitable. They're burning cash. So what do? They rush to build the infrastructure they're not even sure that they need on our dime with our tax breaks, hoping that the bubble doesn't burst before they figure out how to make actual money. If it does burst, one Georgia regulator put it plainly. He said it's like taking out a mortgage to build an addition for a roommate. And if that roommate moves out, you're stuck with the bill. So we're paying for the grid upgrades. We're losing land to eminent domain.
It sounds similar to the housing market crash.
And living next to a target that we never voted on. We're subsidizing companies that aren't paying taxes and aren't making profits. And when this AI gets expensive to run, they're going to put a meter on it and bill you again. This isn't a tech story. This is a your backyard story. So start going to your county commission meetings, because the decisions getting made right now are deciding who owns the future and whether you get a say in it at all. I like to compare it to a drug dealer. It's like we're getting the free dose right now. We're getting our first hit for free. And once we're hooked, they're going to charge us for it again.
All right. Big shout out to her. Her name is Mama is Tired 67. Big shout out to Mama is Tired 67. She just dropped a gem. If you don't pick it up and store it, that's on you. You know, big salute to Mama is, what is it again?
Exactly. Even if
Mama is Tired 67.
I like to compare it to a drug dealer. It's like we're getting the free dose right now. We're getting our first hit for free. And once we're hooked, they're going to charge us for it again.
Exactly. Even if there's a massive AI bubble burst, which I doubt there will be, but even if there is, we as the public are going to be the ones that are footing this bill and the responsibilities of these data centers on our lands. When I say we take the responsibility, because of how it impacts the water, the lands, driving up utility bills. So if it does go belly up, these tech giants have nothing to worry about. It's absolutely insane.
A ghost tapping scam. So what is ghost tapping? Ghost tapping is a silent scam. That's what makes it so dangerous. We all carry our, wallets around. Ladies, my wife and my daughter have one of those kind of wallets on that stick to the phone case. And we try to hold on to our credit cards and our debit cards for dear life. We don't want anybody going near it. Obviously, once they get it, they can steal all your money. We can't.
They got the things that are supposed to block access to the chip, because they try to use some, wireless way of stealing your chip information. But I remember they had made some sort of metal where it's supposed to block, wireless access to your information on your credit card if they're up to that. But let's see what he says.
Cancel our cards. This scam is so dangerous because the criminals have figured out a way to just be near you in a public place. Think of a sporting event. Think of the mall. Think of a restaurant. Think of anything where they can be near you and not be suspicious. They can even stand at the counter at a souvenir stand at an arena and just stand there and get victim after victim after victim. They just need proximity to you, and their reader on their phone or their little device that's easily accessible to these scammers can receive, because our credit card, I was looking for my credit card, I don't have it here. Our credit cards are transmitting, and they can pick it up and hack right in and get your money. Here's how it works. Clip 9.
Ghost tapping is where an individual can come up and steal your credit card
Ghost tapping.
information if they're close enough in proximity. So this can happen.
Remember, be careful. That ghost tapping is the first time I heard about it.
In a lot of heavy transit areas like airports.
It provides people, criminals, an opportunity to walk up and use either an application on their mobile device or like a mobile electronic device, and they can steal your credit card information.
The fraud targets NFC or near field communication technology in credit cards and mobile wallets.
That's what I was talking
Cybersecurity
about.
strategist from GuidePoint Security, Brian Ledbetter, says you can protect yourself by turning
I hope they bring up the metal that I told you blocks the wireless signal.
on transaction alerts for your credit cards. Also using phone wallets and locking your phone and your phone wallet when they are not in use. For credit cards, he says you can also buy radio frequency identification protection sleeves to
told you
prevent
guys.
people from stealing your information.
Ghost tapping is essentially robbing people blind. Instead of actually
The thing that I brought up at the beginning when they started talking is something that could protect you for that. Get yourself a metal case that has the certain metal that blocks getting through the signal, getting through to the chip with a signal.
Threatening your life and taking your cash. They don't need to. They just get a device close to you and steal your credit card information.
I saw that video off Barry Stepp's channel.
All right. I'm going to stop it right here. Big shout out to Minutes of Horror. You already know. You know, go check out his channel. I'm going to stop it real quick. All right. I'm going to go full screen. Yeah, man. Like, my camera was wilding. I'm hoping that it didn't freeze because yesterday when I did the live, it didn't freeze. So we should be good. But, you know, when I had been going through so much stuff and when the camera started freezing, it was what made me say, you know what? I'm not doing this for a second. You know, and now that the camera's back, you know, I feel refreshed, man. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Big shout out to Minutes of Horror. It's your boy Spank Dog. Much love, real love. I'm out of here. Peace.